Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings, the Battle for Middle-earth 2, the Age of the Ring, where we have a very interesting matchup here. It is evil versus evil. We have, in the red, I believe it's Violence if I remember right. Yes, Violence playing as Isengard, versus Thena in the purple, playing as Mordor. And we see Thena here with what I believe is a pretty standard opening. You try to get down your 2 resource production buildings right away. We've got a couple of slave farms for Mordor already down. And a third one on the way. Now that's actually a little, maybe unique. I think normally what they do, if you want to do like kind of a rush strategy, something very similar to what we're seeing here from Isengard, as there is a resource building and a unit production building right away. Isengard going with the Clansteading building, which trains the wild men of Dunland. Very good for getting out early raids, early aggression, and I would expect to see from Isengard some early pressure coming out. Mordor on the flip side, let's go back over here. We have 4 resource production buildings. This is actually a little greedy. From what I know of the Age of the Ring, typically you want to try to get units out by about this point. You get your production building going. But here, maybe we see why he's playing with such a greedy strategy, as we have 2 buildings going up for Mordor, 2 military buildings, a, what do you call this thing, a troll cage, getting out trolls, very expensive units. You can see here, 510 coin for a mountain troll coming out right away. And then right there beside it, a, what do they call this thing? An orcish stronghold, getting out, of course, the orcs of Mordor, as orc warriors are beginning to pour forth from that building. Taking a look at the map, we see kind of 3 lanes, a northern upper route, a middle route, and a southern route. We see in the north and the south these auxiliary camps, and if they are captured, they can be used to recruit some special units, depending on the civilization who gets it. And here in the middle, we have a watchtower signal fire, captured to grant a large amount of vision in the surrounding area, which of course will be useful to see this coming in. First blood going to Mordor, as the wild men are getting shredded. Good news for Isengard, maybe a silver lining, is the signal fire was captured. So if we take a look at the map here, get a sense of how much Mordor can see. Isengard can see an awful lot more. Sees the troll cage right there, of course. Doesn't know about the stronghold, but I mean, he sees the orcs. He knows it's there. Make note, by the way, of the wild men sweeping south. He's going to try to actually raid at the same time as he will be forced to defend his own base. That's this combo of orcs and troll moving forward, knocking down furnaces left and right for Isengard. 1 down. Let's see if he gets 2. And meanwhile, we've got to keep an eye on the minimap. A unit ability there. The Cracks of Doom. Enemy. This is a Mordor ability. Enemy units in this area take burning damage. Uruk-hai scouts on the field. They are melting, but you also saw at the same time the war chant of Isengard has been drawn forth, which is giving their allies additional damage and armor. So he's really trying to melt these units down, while at the same time, if we just go back here, alright, fights taking place there, fights taking place to the south, really just trying to distract and raid. Let's see, orcs there. That's wild men. So we have 3 Isengard units here. These guys should go down. More orcs coming in, putting in more raids. Wow. This is a game that does not... The action starts right away. You do not get a lot of time to breathe in the early game before the fighting begins. And I think what we're going to see, these early units, going to be a lot of wild men, a lot of orcs fighting. I'm actually surprised that we did see those the troll push early on. It looks like Mordor is moving into a very orc-heavy approach. Now, of course, Isengard have their Uruk-hai. We do have 1 group of Uruk-hai scouts out. There's a second. The Uruk-hai scouts are kind of a jack-of-all-trades unit because they can switch between bow and sword. So right now he's using them like archers and allowing the wild men to serve as the damage sponge. But if they get close, he can switch, of course, to the swords and do more effectively than a traditional archer would. I'm going to guess, just from the conventions of real-time strategy games, that they're probably a jack-of-all-trades civ. They're not going to be the best archers in the game. They're not going to be the best swordsmen in the game. But that flexibility and adaptability is worth its weight in gold. It's a good transition off of wild men, I would assume, onto orcs. Orcs, I say orcs. Uruk-hai. Of course, if you take a look here, you'll see that the only unit you can train out of the Uruk pits are the scouts. So you don't have access to any kind of, like here we have the crossbowman, the dedicated archer unit, or the pikeman down here. You don't get them until you level up this building. So for now in the early game, if he's going to fight off those trolls with, spears, he's going to need to use the wildman spearman. Interesting. We see flanking maneuvers up north from Isengard. Wildmen establishing in the south. And here in the middle, another wave of orcs getting ready to push in. Violence is doing a good job getting these resource production buildings back up and running, keeping the eco flowing. Alright, big fights here. We see, let's see, Cracks of Doom is ready to fire, so we'll see that shortly. The War Chant also ready. Here it is. War Chant goes at the exact same time, once again, as the Cracks of Doom. I think what this ability is doing, more than even direct damage to the units, is forcing Violence to reposition his Uruk-hai. He's not able to take the fight right in that spot where he would like to. And he is using that for good effect, separating out Isengard's army. Mordor pushes in, starts to do damage to these furnaces. But meanwhile, in the south here of Mordor's base, wildmen are getting in. This resource building just went to level 2. It would be a pain if it went down now. Notice, by the way, this is something I've been learning about the Battle for Middle-earth recently. Notice how players build their unit production buildings right beside the resource buildings in order to help shield some of the damage and keep them safe. It's harder to flank and surround these buildings and melt them down. I've got to call this out. We see Nazgul on the field. Our first hero unit, I'm pretty sure, a Nazgul. They gain strength with every additional Nazgul you're able to recruit. And you have abilities that cause fear and terror. They gain movement speed and armor. Let's see. Nearby enemies caught in the black breath take damage over time for 15 seconds. Flight of the Hellhawks. Requires the Breeding Grounds update. We can't even see what that does without that ability unlocked. So, Isengard looks like they're kind of fighting in from behind, but they are holding the ground. And the thing to keep in mind as we're watching this battle, as you might imagine, if you know anything about the Lord of the Rings, Mordor will have numbers. I don't know that any civilization other than maybe the Misty Mountains, the Goblin faction, can mass up the kind of numbers that Mordor can. But an individual orc is not that strong. And I think Isengard will have a much more quality over quantity focus in comparison. Isengard bringing up a Dunlending Longhouse. This is another kind of a more advanced version of the the Wildman hut here. This is the clan steading. This is the Dunlending House. These guys are far better equipped than the Wildmen. Even though, from a lore perspective, they're coming from the same place. They are the elite troops of the Dunlendings.
We are the fighting Uruk-hai.
Wildman Spearmen moving in, and they should take down. There it is. Good, and they're also going to take down these level 2 orcs. Kind of got sent in without any protection there, so they go down. But then so will the Spearmen, and I bet you that this furnace is not long for the world either. Isengard moving into the middle, maybe kind of kicking off a counterattack here. Wulfgar is an Isengard hero. He is the leader of the Dunlendings.
Dunne Shaxman, ready for war.
And at this moment in the game, you might be wondering, well, who's actually winning this, right? It seems like purple has control of more of the map, and red is on the back foot. Really quickly, I'm going to snapshot this 2 more Isengard heroes. We've got Sharku, the Urukai riding his pet warg. And I could have sworn I saw another hero here. Oh, that's just Wolfgar again. Mordor pushing into the middle. Take a look really quickly at this number right here, because this will really tell a lot of the story. The right-hand number is the population limit. And that not only is a population limit, but it also gives you an indication of how many resource buildings are on the field. Because in Battle for Middle-earth, your resource production buildings and your pop increasing buildings are the same. So, you have 725 pop for Isengard versus 875 population limit right now for Mordor. So that suggests Mordor does have more resource buildings on the field. Therefore, they're bringing in more money. The losses will not matter as much to Isengard. But the map might be a little bit deceiving in that, even though red looks like he's kind of pushed in, he is doing a good job sort of keeping up with Mordor. So I'm wondering if Thena is not able to finish this game off. Maybe Isengard can mass up units, take advantage of that quality over quantity approach, kind of develop that elite force, and then be able to just deal with the waves and waves of orc that Mordor is throwing his way. We haven't looked at Purple's base in a while. Let's go ahead and pop down there. Let's see. We've got the Nazgul, of course, in the field. A bunch of orcs. Another hero has just popped out. Moloch. Who is, I believe, a monstrous troll hero for Mordor. The Will of Sauron. Moloch gains 20% resistance against normal arrows. That's cool. Leap. He jumps to a location causing area of effect damage. Lord of the Ologhai. Nearby allied trolls gain damage and armor. And Reaping Slash. Moloch gains 100% damage and 25% armor and regains health per hit for 20 seconds. What a beast of a hero. This is where you would want an enemy hero that can do some lockdown and anti-hero damage and really shut down units. I think for Isengard, I think Lurtz would have some of that. That would be very useful. Even Wormtongue, if I'm not mistaken, has some disabling effects that might be good at shutting down a hero like this. To me, I'm wondering if those cracks of doom, that crack of doom right there was maybe a little bit misfired. Didn't seem like it did a lot of damage there.
Wolfgar summons his axeman.
Yeah, I see a couple of Uruk-hai running away. So here in the middle, not a lot to defend. It'll be critical for him to defend with what little he's got, including the Dunlending Axemen. So this is, again, kind of an elite infantry unit for Isengard. Not sure how they compare to the level, like the ultimate level Uruk-hai. Would you rather go Dunlending Axemen or, like Shield Bearers or something?
Dunlending, ready for war.
I'm guessing it's probably Uruk-hai sort of in between the two. These guys are elite, especially because they cost a lot. You see here, 650, 900 points. Ooh. That doesn't sound good. If we take a look at Mordor real quick, here are the abilities on the field. Battles are taking place. We saw some battles on the south. They got cleared out. Or at least we saw on the mini-map. In the north, Isengard is actually pushing in. So Isengard was pushing in the flanks even as he was defending at home. And now, Violence seems to have actually done a good job repelling that attack. Orc archers here. Yeah, Mordor is really not... They're doing chip damage. They're taking down resource production buildings here and there. But really, so far, we're not seeing that push to end the Isengard threat. Massing up units. So Mordor has Wraiths on Wings. Summons 2 Wraiths on Wings to the battlefield. So that's 2 of the Nazgul. They are on their Wraiths. And they are a hero ability rather than a hero itself that you can permanently spawn. They also get Slaves of Norn. Selected structures resource output is raised to 275% for 5 minutes. Oh my goodness. That's a big eco boost. The Gorgoroth Foundry. So you'll notice most of these, the Isengard has the furnaces, Mordor has the slave farms, but they do have an alternate resource production structure, which also serves as kind of the blacksmith where you can get those elite level technologies. Isengard picking up cruel blades right now, which will increase the melee strength of their swordsmen and pikes. I guess cavalry too, yeah. Fight happening here in the middle. The axemen are at work. And I would expect these elite axemen versus, you know, the orcs. I mean, they have mass, they have numbers. That's their strength. So, mano a mano, orcs should melt under the pressure of this unit. Even as I say that, though, we got a troll coming in. An Ologhai. Oh, no. No, those were level 3. No. Down. Look at that. That Ologhai was tickled. I'm a little concerned. Mordor is continuing to grow its command point pop. I think Thane is in a very good spot here. So the eco is just raising higher and higher. Isengard, to its credit, you know, is maintaining that 725 pop limit, but not growing any further. Technologies are coming in, though. We do see this archer leveling up, and I think, you know, if you're able to get highly advanced elite leveled units, that does mean a lot. That's not what I want. What do we see here? Okay, we still have Wulfgar and Sharku on the field, which is pretty cool.
Axemen of Dunland.
Sharku's an interesting choice. I tend to think of Sharku as like there's a leader unit, right? For yeah, allied wargs gain damage and experience. Send in the wargs, we've seen that ability. It's pretty cool. Armored wolves. So it seems like a good unit to pair with other wargs, but I'm not really seeing a lot of that from. We don't even see a warg pit up for Isengard. Before I forget, I've mentioned Mordor's abilities. Let's talk about Isengard. You already know about the War Chant. That'll be huge, especially now that we have this mass Isengard army. This should be interesting. We also have Tainted Land, giving allied units damage and armor in an area, claiming part of the land. And Build Me an Army. Temporarily summons an Isengard war camp. Every 45 seconds, a horde of heavily armed Uruk-hai is spawned. That. And you can see that ability has been used. I forget if we actually saw that ourselves or not, but... Has this been Isengard's the whole time? I don't think Thana has even picked this up, so... Isengard has had intel on when the army is coming through, what kind of units he's teching into. We do see Nazgul, we see the troll hero. This is nasty. Alright, just time to pop all the abilities. Isengard has a level 16 power here. I'm surprised he's not spending that. Then again, Mordor just hit level 20. So picked up 20 points. And what is this right here? The Crow Banner. That has to be a hero ability. And I'm pretty sure that's Mordor's, if I'm not mistaken. Clearly, Mordor has won this fight. Isengard is having to push back. Again, though, to the south, another raid coming in. Mordor will have to deal with that. But then, Isengard, you've got to be able to hold the center while your flanks do their damage. You can't lose your base just to get some raids in. You know what? Actually, I take that back. The Crow Banner might be... Is that Wulfgar? Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm wrong. That's Isengard's. That's the crow banner. Enemies near the banner lose armor and damage. So that was actually a really cool moment there for Isengard. Don't know if it's enough. The fires of Orodruin calls down a hail of molten rock on selected area. I missed that on camera, but we do see the after effects here as the buildings. Oh my goodness. Is that GG before it goes down? Yeah. Oof. And in this battle, Mordor proves triumphant. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Cool little battle between two evil factions in the Age of the Ring, Battle for Middle-earth 2. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Let me know if you want to see more Age of the Ring battles in the 1v1 sphere, or maybe something else out of the Battle for Middle-earth 2, or some other game. Please consider giving the video a like, comment, consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you that does that. For now, this is the Iron Kaiser, signing off. Have a great one out there. God bless.